Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with some more World of Tanks. And today we're going to be looking at a few games I played earlier featuring the M10 Wolverine, the American tank destroyer. And typically, a lot of people seem to not like this TD. Some of the reasons are, of course, primarily being poor matchmaking, poor armor, and poor speed. So those things are very much so against it. At least as far as the community is concerned. Now, I've been playing this extensively. I have it fully upgraded. The crew's not yet 100%, and I am missing at least one piece of equipment. But I can tell you that it's not as bad as most people make it out to be. First of all, it's an American tank destroyer, a motor carriage, self-propelled gun. It's a gun on wheels. The chassis, the hull, it's meant to just deliver the gun onto the battlefield. That's pretty much it. You need to play it as we're playing it here in a very much defensive role or as a sniper. Get yourself to a good position and hold out. Now, as you can see here, we have a suicide scout basically. Coming in, we get one hit off on him. And right here, we're just trying to lead that target, predict where he's going to end up. Boom, for the kill. Our job there was to protect the artillery or perhaps some of the other weaker tank destroyers. However, looks like that scouting is paying off a little bit. We do lose a friendly, and I'm moving out of the direction at this point because I know that, well, I don't want to get hit by the artillery because we've all basically been lit up. So I just want to try to go for some cover, get behind a hill, and in hopes that the artillery won't be able to lock onto me. But as you can see, some time has passed and we're pretty good. But again, back to the M10 itself. If you play this thing right, you can do very well with it. Even in some of the games where you get match made with some very heavy tanks, you just have to sit back, look for those openings, the flank positions, hit tanks on the rear and the sides, aim for those weak spots. You know, the driver ports, the gunner slits. Aim for all those little points that are really going to help your round penetrate even further. As you can see here, we're just still holding on the defense. This game also requires patience. This is very much a tank destroyer that needs ultimate patience, because sometimes you're going to have to sit back and find a good spot and play as a sniper. And we do have to face one big reality. There's no respawns. And in a game where there's no respawns, if you die, you're not just hurting yourself, but you're hurting the team more than ever. Because you don't get to come back. And your gun could be, you know, a matter of life or death in this game. You know, your one shot, your one penetrating shot that takes out an opponent could be the one that costs the entire team the whole game. And you know what, maybe it's not a tournament game or whatever, but that's the way I look at it. A win is a win, and you're really only as strong as the rest of your team. And if everybody else took the time to think the same way, there'd be a lot more wins, you know, for your team or other individuals. You don't want to rush in, especially with this kind of a unit. There we have a Lee that I also call the wedding cake, because it's basically a three-tiered tank. Getting a couple shots off there. At this point, I'm just trying to predict that maybe he's still there, get a couple of extra shots on him. And perhaps we'll run into him later, who knows. So again, I'm just holding the line. I'm paying attention to the score and noticing that we are winning currently. But we also want to protect our one piece of artillery that we have. So we want to, you know, not be selfish. Yeah, I could go out there. Yeah, we're winning. Yeah, I could go out there and maybe get a few more hits and just rush in all the way out, go across the flank and hope for, you know, some more points on my side. But I decided to hold back long enough to make sure that we were good on defense. And now, you know what, I can see, okay, it's safe to move in. But looks like we're running into another one. Boom! Lucky hit there. It looks like somebody managed to track him, because I know my shot was going through the center hull. And then he's obviously finished off by another ally, so that was quite devastating and always funny to watch, because you know that they've lost complete control of their gun. So that was a nice one. Fairly lucky, and the power of the gun coming into play. But look who it is. The wedding cake shows back up. He does manage to get a hit on me. I want to be careful because he does have a 75mm. However, fatal mistake. His gun right there is on my left side. It's a fixed position gun, as you can see, and it cannot face me from where he was. So I just found a good position and let him have it on the side that had no gun that he could fire at me. That's how you use this tank. Exploit the enemy's weaknesses. You know? That's how to do it. So you got a nice 2 kill there. You know, not bad. Did some damage on some other tanks. And we're going to get, you know, a lot of points just for the damage that we managed to inflict. Team wins. Not bad. The rest of the team did pretty well in their own. So again, you know, I can't do this on my own. It comes down to these other guys here that are playing very well. We only had 3 losses, it looks like. At least for the time being. Not bad. That's a really good game. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes you're the last one on the battlefield. But that doesn't mean just because you have an amazing team that, you know, you should just be careless. And that's just the way I play it. Because even though this game is still fairly arcadey, it is a tank game with no respawns, which means that a lot of real-world tanking tactics still come into play. So we're obviously going to jump into another game here. And one more time with the M10 Wolverine. This is kind of a featurette for this tank. So we can see here, I am top of the list there. And the matchmaker has failed miserably because you can see that I'm being paired against a Churchill. We've got a T1 heavy tank and a T34 compared to my M7 medium tank and a couple of Panzer IVs. Not a good matchmaking right there. So we're going to see what happens. I'm already feeling a little negative here. I'm like, I don't know about this one. This one looks bad. So we'll have to see. Again, what I usually do, I look at the rest of the team. I think, okay, where are they going? Wait for them to spot targets. Once they've spotted targets, then we engage. Do not, at all costs, go out by yourself, especially in this tank destroyer, and do not go at the front of the line. I may be at the top of the list, but that does not give me permission to drive out and take hits. It doesn't mean that. If anything, it only means that I have a potent gun and that I can, decimate some of these guys. It's just a tier number, you know? It doesn't mean that I'm going to kill everything. So we want to play cautious, do a little bit of base defense, wait till the perimeter is clear, and then move in. You know, as harsh as it may sound, the rest of your teammates, sometimes they have to be your meat shields. They have to go out first and find the danger. Then once you know where that danger is, you go after it. That's what you're there for. You're not recon, you know. And here we're gonna get out a couple of shots. I don't like to play peekaboo too much, so I'm very cautious about sticking myself out there. As you notice, once I fired my shot, got my hit, I backed off, put myself in safety, used some of the cover of the hills and the housing. I noticed that I have a lot of tanks up in front of me. We've got a Hetzer kind of floundering out there at the front lines, which is actually not really good. I don't recommend, especially having a Hetzer that far out. As you can see, he's not even worried about where he's shooting. He's worried about cover right now. He could easily get destroyed. Couple shots out, looks like a track, and finished by a friendly. So, as we see, it looked like a tracer round just went past me. You got to be very careful because don't forget, one of the things to this game is the invisible tanks. The spotting mechanic of this title, although in my opinion is kind of annoying. It's there and you have to work with it. So just because you can't see a tank doesn't mean that you should just have your whole hull out there ready to get decimated. So at this point, looking at the losses on the enemy team, feeling like, okay, maybe I can move up a little bit more. I want to figure out what's going on. I'm paying attention to the mini-map right now as well, and thinking to myself, I'm looking at the amount of forces we have on each side. As you can see to the west, we have the bulk of our team. East, not so much. In fact, we just lost another guy on the east, and this is when I'm realizing, you know, it's a matter of time before we lose that guy on the east coast. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? You guys have fun on the west. I'm going to go back to the base and defend our only piece of artillery, the Bison. Unfortunately, they do have a straight shot to go to this. The one downside to this TD is the speed. Very slow, especially on rougher terrain. The only thing I can do here is try to get myself to a rock or some sort of cover and perhaps hold out for the oncoming of these units. There we have an M8 tank destroyer. Light armor, but his gun will hurt me. And we lost the Bison. So as far as my protection detail, that didn't work out so well. Tried to get lucky with a couple shots on this M8. And they are incoming. I didn't really expect the T1 heavy, and I am getting lit up. Getting stuck on the rocks as well. And right now I'm not too worried about shooting, just trying to throw down some cover fire to get myself out. Running into the rocks again. I'm thinking I'm dead. I'm dead. I've got 2 heavy tanks and a TD coming up on me, I think. Or a light tank of some sort. No, it's a TD. And I'm like, well, I'm screwed. But somehow I managed to get past this hill. They missed so many critical shots. They could have had me right there. I just lucked out. I'm thinking, okay, my team is capping, and I'm the only one left at base. We can do this. You know, the win is basically in the bag here. We take out the M8, who thinks he's going to use his speed. He's a big silhouette. It was a big mistake. But now, I know that I cannot face the Churchill and the T1 Heavy. It's just impossible. My gun, it's not going to do enough to their frontal armor, and I can't get around them because I'm too slow. So, well, I'm just going to buy time. That's all I'm going to do. As you can see, we're getting the cap. We get a shot on the Churchill. I think they do one of HE on me. He misses. We stay alive, and we help defend the base or buy time. Okay, we would have won anyway. We probably would have won without me. But in another situation where maybe one guy escaped and the rest of their team was coming towards our base, that's what you need to do. You need to not be selfish. Defend the base. Maybe you won't get as many kills. Maybe you won't get as much XP and credits, but you're going to help the team win and defend. And again, another victory for the M10 Wolverine, the underdog tank destroyer, which most people think is flat out terrible. It's not that bad. It could use some work. I think it could be faster in terms of speed. But once you get these upgrades that I'm kind of pointing out here, the faster firing turret, gun rammer, you know, you max out the engine, main gun, it's actually not that bad. And I'm deciding to keep it because it's actually kind of fun for the tier. And, you know, just got to learn to play it. Use it and protect your team. Be a sniper. Camp. Just don't overcamp because you've got a lot of firepower at your disposal and you don't want to let it go to waste. Check your minimap. Watch the overall score. See where you may be needed and find those targets of opportunity. But with that said, ladies and gents, I hope you've enjoyed this look at the M10. Stay tuned for a whole lot more World of Tanks, and I will definitely see you on the next one.